Well, first of all, he was cast later. Abigail, we knew fairly early on. I mean, when we saw her, we knew, and then there was that, hiccup with schedule. But the role of Michael, that was a long process, and Tom wasn't cast until very late in the game. But I'll tell you what, he was absolutely destined, God's will, for him to play this role. I mean, the thing I love about Tom, and I love Tom and Abby so much, and, Tom literally, as I said about Abigail, Tom embodied the role of Michael, not only on the physicality, but he organically brought with him the characteristics of who he is as a person. I mean, he didn't just portray a role. Tom brings a lot of these Michael characteristics just naturally, or gets part of him. But aside from that, you look at the role of Angel, and it is an actor's dream, that role, because you look at it and obviously look at the character arc. It's so huge, all the different, how she changes from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie. But the role that Tom had to play in Michael was incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
In some ways more difficult, because it's not that obvious arc of change. I mean, his character's fairly constant in so many ways in the depiction, but he literally just brought so many different levels to this character in terms of his strength, the love that he brought to the character, the kindness, the compassion. But then on the other side of it, his frustration was like, God, how could you call me to marry a harlot? He's a farmer. He's a virgin. There were a lot of things we had to sell with this. I mean, he's 26 years old and he's a virgin. In that respect, just to give you an idea of all those character traits that Tom brought with him, he's a graduate of RADA, Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts. I mean, he's a serious, as Abigail, serious actors here. I mean, these are hugely talented actors. But it was just, I can only say both of these actors, God willed to play these roles for such a time as this. 100%. Because they were, each of them, both phenomenal actors, 2, physically right, 3, naturally possessed the characteristics that, Francine had written in a book 30 years ago before either of them were even born. I mean, think about that one.
Crazy.
I mean, this book was written 30 years ago, well before either of them were born, and yet they were the perfect ones to play these roles.